So I just dropped my second grader off at school. Not really excited about these early mornings at all. But, you know, what do you do? Well, it does kind of have school on my mind though. So how about a Q&A MMI style? My name is John Maxwell and I'm a highly trained unprofessional right here at Chattahoochee Harley Davidson. And on this channel I bring you guys to work with me. So if you want to learn more about Harley Davidson, you should hit the subscribe button right now. So before we get going too far into the whole video today, I should mention that MMI and I are working together on this one. It's pretty cut and dry agreement though. I tell you guys my own opinions. They didn't have anything that I have to tell you guys or not tell you guys or anything like that. So it's one of the easier sponsorship deals to work with. Oh yeah, and this is one of two videos. The other video will be on their channel. I'll link it in the description. So, on to questions. Let's go to work. So most of these questions come from a video I did about a month ago asking you guys what you're curious to know about school. Mark Henry has a pretty good one. He's from Britain and apparently my southern accent confuses him at times. But he wants to know what MMI is, which is probably a pretty good question. I always kind of forget. Everybody might not know. But MMI to me is the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. They also have a Marine Mechanics Institute. It's all under UTI and there's a NASCAR school. It's a pretty big operation all across the country. The one I went to though was in Orlando and I went for Harley Davidson. I also need approval for this bike, so I gotta find something else to work on this morning. Alright, found something. Now, Antonio asks, do you have to go to MMI to be a Harley tech? Well, no, not exactly, necessarily. But every dealership is privately owned, so every dealership looks for techs in a different way. If your end game is wanting to be a tech, then I'd start with talking to the dealer you might want to work at. It will set you up for success better in the end. But for the record, Antonio didn't go to school, but I think Antonio was born with a silver wrench. He didn't need school. That dude keeps 2 Evos running like no problem before he's ever a motorcycle technician. He was qualified. He's a rare occurrence. All right, let me knock some of this out and we'll get on to another one. So now I gotta make notes of all the stuff I find. I really wish that whole process was as fast as it seems on video, but what do you do? Freaking doors are broke. We got these double doors. They keep opening and closing like, I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway, I have another question for you guys too. Wheeler's Ride asks how old I was when I went to MMI. I was 25. It's about, I don't know, I was a little under average age in my graduating class probably. It's cool. It was actually my birthday. I did a vlog on that a little while ago. On my birthday. June 4th, 2010. That's when I went to school. Well, I started school June 28th, but I was 25. Graduated at 26. Yeah. Alright, let me get back to work here. So Sailing Stardust asks if he has what it takes to go to motorcycle school and what like qualifications you need. Well, GED, high school diploma, that's what I had, just a GED. We'll get to, you know, what you learn when you're there and some more questions, I'm pretty sure, but it's really just a mindset. I could talk a lot about the mindset, but to physically like qualify, you're good. GED, high school diploma, get those, you're in. Also, if you have a 21-inch wheel on your 14-liter bagger, you need a fender lift kit. I'll show you. Now the tire won't touch the fender, which is, you know, good. Now maybe the parts are here for that trike I was working on. So the parts aren't ready yet. And it's lunchtime, so maybe I can actually knock out some of these questions. There's over 20 of them. Have I mentioned that yet? There's a lot. Greasy Lou says, so you never had even repaired or restored a motorcycle before you went to MMI. What made you think you could be a successful tech or even get through the school? Well, Greasy Lou, because my mom told me I'm special. No, in all seriousness though, excuse me, there's a link in the description about the course schedule for the Harley program. Well, for all the programs is in the link, but what I'm familiar with is the Harley program. You start off in theory and you do quite a few weeks of all brands, which is nice because you might figure out that you'd like to do something else other than just one brand. The first classes being theory, you learn what you need, like the super basics, you know, motorcycle part names and stuff, so that when you're going through the course, you're not like curious about what that's called or how it works and stuff. You know, you've already got quite a few weeks into what's what about motorcycles. I do truly believe that if you're willing to put the work in, you can actually be anything you want to be. I just didn't want to be an astronaut, Mom. Some people do have to work harder than others, but you know, that's it, Greasy Lou. I just believed in myself. I'd have to amend what I just said, just a little bit. I mean, I told you what I'm familiar with is the Harley program. But what I really meant is I'm familiar with the Harley program 6 years ago, 7 years, however long, a long time ago. So one good thing about working with MMI for this video is that, well, the most up-to-date information is here for you guys. So after reviewing the video, they asked if I could add a little something something, so this is the something something being added. Basically, what I went through was a 36-week course in core classes, including the theory class I just talked about, the what's what of motorcycles. Well, that's now been implemented into other classes. The whole core program is now 18 weeks, bringing the entire Harley program, what I'm talking to you guys about today, the whole thing is 42 weeks long now. You can get done a lot faster than what I got done in, and it's significantly cheaper too. It's linked down below. You're gonna want to check that out. Now you'll be able to get back to the actual video, the one that I made earlier. Kenny asks, what's the oldest student at MMI? Well, currently, I don't know. I'm here. But when I was there was a guy in his mid-50s. He was not the only guy in his mid-50s. At 25, I was kind of like the lower than average, and mid-50s was a little higher than average. So according to my not very accurate math skills, mid-30s or so is probably the most prominent age group, early to mid-30s. There's a lot of guys at that age when I was there. Tim says, hi, I am currently active duty Marine getting out soon. Do you know anything about if the Montgomery or post 9/11 GI Bill is better for MMI? Also, do you know anything about the Phoenix campus? Really appreciate it. Love you channel. I'll let the misspelling slide, Tim. First, thank you for your service. I'd also like to mention, I've talked before about MMI and the GI Bill on the channel, and somehow everybody thought that I had used the GI Bill. I did not use the GI Bill because I have not served, so I don't know much about the GI Bill, except that a lot of the students there were there on the GI Bill, and it seemed to work out very well for them. But I would check the links or the phone number down there to for sure figure out. I don't really want to speak on that since I don't know. The Phoenix campus, if I'm not mistaken, is newer than Orlando, so all the pictures I had seen, motorcycle. All the pictures looked like it's a really nice campus. Other than that, I don't know. It was just too far away. My wife didn't want to go. I wanted to move to Phoenix just because I knew I'd never live out west otherwise. But she didn't want to be so far away from family, so we went to Orlando. which was also stellar. Disney World, bro. What the? I think that was a pigeon. Charles David loaded me up. Great work, John. Thanks again. Did you work while going to school? Is it hard to get accepted to MMI? Is there financial aid available? Yes, I did work while going to school. This is a great time to mention that MMI does have a employment office. They help you find work while you're in school, and post-graduation, they help you find a dealership that is right for you, or that is hiring, or whatever the case. I was too hard-headed to actually use that office and was determined to do it on my own. I ended up being a delivery driver for a restaurant, even though I was determined to not work in restaurants, because I was like starting my new life as not a restaurant employee, and I ended up as a driver anyway. But it was the only time I've ever been a delivery driver, and quite frankly, I didn't like it. I waited and waited and was really happy when Orlando Harley called me, and I worked there and folded lots and lots of t-shirts. It was a cool job. Really, really great people down there. What else did he say? Is it hard to get accepted to MMI? I mean, they let me in. Is there financial aid available? Yes. Well, there's scholarships, there's grant money, there's the GI Bill. There's a lot of things that affect how much the school costs. So to even answer the question, how much does school cost? I can't do that. It's different for everyone. Different on which courses you're taking, because you're there for more classes. Your videos are amazing, John Maxwell. Yes, thank you, Dylan. I'm actually starting school on August 20th. Well, that means you've already started. I hope everything's going well. I'm having trouble finding an apartment. The housing that you mentioned in this video, would you be comfortable in disclosing the rental company? I don't remember, Dylan, to be perfectly honest. I think in the video that you commented this on, I mentioned that I used the rental department or the housing location department, or whatever they call it, at the MMI campus, which was very useful. I tried it the other way, like same with the employment, the hard way. I tried to do it myself, and I picked out a location that turned out to not be very desirable for, you know, a family living style in a decent neighborhood, you know, not knowing the city and stuff. But anyway, so they hooked me up they gave me 3 locations to check out while I was in town looking for that apartment, to sign the lease and get everything lined up. It's like 3 or 4 months before school started. Rode around town, checked them all out, and found what turned out to be like my favorite place I've ever lived in Hunters Creek, a smaller area towards the south of Orlando, towards Kissimmee and stuff. But yeah, it's like I think it's my favorite place I've ever lived. Easily. Really nice. So use the housing department. I hope you found a place to live, since it's already happened and I'm answering your question right now. Corey says he's starting MMI August 20th or thereabouts. Are you in Dylan's class? Was wondering some pointers on what helped you get settled and such. I'm moving a little under 1,000 miles to go to school, and I'm a little nervous about it. Any tips or advice would be greatly appreciated. Corey, I actually talked about some of the things that I did in another vlog, but for those of you watching this one, I moved early, which is too late for you, but for everyone else watching, I moved pretty early, and I kind of got accustomed to the area. You know, simple things like where am I going to grocery shop and where's things I need. I was most nervous about waking up on time and getting to school, so I had like 3 weeks of in Orlando, wake up early, go find a job. I actually even drove from the apartment to the house. To the school, like at the time of day that I would go, which was like 7 a.m. I think, just so I had a good gauge of like what traffic would be like and stuff. It eased my mind a little bit. Otherwise, I just made sure I had a lot of rest, you know, so that my brain could function well. It's an important aspect nobody ever really talks about. I don't know, like sleep fixes everything. I could use a nap right now. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, so I gotta get back to work. Lunch is over. We'll go find those trike parts and do work and things. trike has 75,000 miles on it. Reverse motor, it's tired. Gotta rebuild it, but that's not what this video is about. Yeah, so doing a reverse motor and filming it turned out to be a disaster. Need a towel. Instantly road grimed from whatever happens to reverse motors down there underneath the body of the trike. But I'm also doing steering head bearings on this model because it's 75,000. Every 25K you lubricate, inspect, and adjust the neck bearings. But I wanted to show you guys. That is why. See how like disgustingly black all of it is? It's like, this guy does some serious riding. Obviously, it's a 2015 with 75,000 miles on it. So that grease has only been there for, I don't know, 2 months? Maybe 3 months. Not very long. All right, enough about bearings. That's not why we're here for this video. Only Knight says, I'm 21, no kids, no wife. Show off. I love the motorcycles, the crew, the people. Apparently works at Harley. That's pretty cool. So basically, this is kind of a long one. He's 2 years away from graduating nursing school, but really wants to be a motorcycle mechanic. Only Knight and anyone else that this might apply to, you should really finish what you start. I think the few regrets I have are because I didn't finish what I started. It's much easier to finish nursing school now, find out you don't necessarily like nursing or like this school, but you finished it, and then do something later. You're still young. You got plenty of time to do something different. But if you give up right before you're done, after you've already worked so hard to get where you are now, to try to do something else, I think you'll regret that later. It goes for any other profession, or, you know, it doesn't have to be nursing or regular college. Just finish what you start, for sure. Clark says, how long is the course? I'm older, thinking about it. I don't think you can be too old to do the course necessarily. Honestly, the issues that I watched some of the older guys deal with were probably more the computer than anything. There's a lot more computer stuff than you realize. Hold on. So, yeah, computers. Alright, that looks better. I got all blown out when I walked outside. Between looking up parts, filling out work orders, checking people out, all that's done by computer. So I don't even necessarily mean diagnosing stuff using the shop computer. I just mean in general, there's a lot of computer work in this job, and the older guys I've seen have trouble with that. For the older guys that want to do it, I would check yourself on the computer skills area. But like anything else I've talked about today, if you really want it, you can do it. That just might be an area that you need more help in than some of the younger fellas. I'm in the Marine Corps. Currently, I'm at the end of my schooling to be a C-130 mechanic. That's pretty cool. Thanks for your service. And C-130 mechanic, that might be as cool as being a motorcycle mechanic. He's gonna start getting tuition assistance, and they pay a certain amount to go to school. See, that's one reason why financially speaking, military will set you up right for life, right there. How difficult will it be working 12 hours a day to also go to motorcycle school? Man, that'd be tough. The day is about 5-6 hours long. If you really want to do it, you're gonna need to study a little bit. I don't know, that'd be tough. My whole day was like 12 to 14 hours with school and my job and my studying and stuff. Not 5 days a week either. I was technically part-time at the dealership. So, I don't know, man. That would be tough. That would be really, really tough. Get my stuff, I'm getting out of here. So I had every intention of going home and filming the end of the video, but I took that nap that I really needed, so We're back at work again. Day 2. Ghost Rider asks, did you learn all bikes or HD only? Was it possible to only learn HD? Yes, it is possible to learn only HD, and that's what I did. I really wanted to take Kawasaki. I don't really know why. It really caught my attention for some reason. But don't forget too, I learned only Harley in the certification sense. I still worked on other bikes, you know, in the initial beginning core classes, as they call them. So, yeah, I mean, I worked on more and learned some, but I'm only certified in Harley once I graduated. So Adam asked about taking Yamaha and Harley and if you should drop it and stuff. Well, even if you want to work Harley post-graduation, there's still side work and, you know, stuff you can do that wouldn't compete with the dealership you're working at. And a lot of Harley dealers have metrics that they sell also. So time and money wise is really the depending factor on whether or not you should take more than just one. You know, my wife didn't want to stay in Orlando long enough for me to take Kawasaki. So that's why I didn't get to take a metric. But I mean, you know, personal preference. I wish I'd taken a metric though, for what it's worth. So Alex asks, what course was the most difficult? Electrical, definitely electrical. There was 3 electrical classes, so by the end, you know, well, you know what you need to know, but there's still a lot to learn, you know, once you're actually working. But it's just a lot of vocabulary and terms and where to put the meter leads to diagnose different things. Yeah, that was the hardest. Eli, hey John, love your videos, man. Thanks, Eli. I was wondering if I go to MMI, could they help me get a job close to home? Yes, they can. The employment office that I was talking about earlier, they'll help you out with whatever dealership you want to apply to. But see, there's a 90-day trial period, right? And when you first start any dealership, generally there's a 90-day trial period. Well, that trial period is as much for you and whether or not you like the shop and the guys you work with as it is for them to decide if you're worthy. If you want to be truly successful, you should be open to go wherever. Best bet though is to talk to the dealership you want to work at before you leave to find out if it's even plausible to get a job there. Granted, it's going to be like a year or more before you're actually ready to be hired, but at least you have a good idea of whether or not it's worth to go to school. Jesse asks what challenges I had after graduation. Well, only my own nerves, I think. From the stories I've heard though, a lot of people have trouble not being a know-it-all, thinking they know everything because they went to school, which in reality, most people there went to school also and have tons of time in the shop. So to think that after 1 year of school you know more than everyone working with you is insane. So I didn't have that problem because I'd already been warned. I don't think I knew how to remove spoke weights. I learned that in the shop. I found myself asking the other guys a lot of questions because everybody has an efficient way of doing things. So school's just like the beginning to learning. It never really stops, so if you keep an open mind, I always say eyes open, ears open, mouth closed when you're in the shop for the first couple of weeks there, and it'll all go a lot better. You'll have fewer challenges. Jesse Duncan, not the Jesse from a few minutes ago, but this Jesse. He's a current student, loves the content. Thanks, Jesse. Talk a lot about the tools you will need. Would you give a rundown and overall picture to the ideal tools for every day that you will need outside of the basics? Thank you. Keep up the channel. Thank you. Keep you the channel. Well, Jesse, you might not have met the Snap-on guy that wanders around yet or that has an office there. I got as much as I could afford at the student discount, and I wish I'd been able to get more, because in this job you really can't have too many But for entry-level tech stuff, you really need just the basic set. Your open-end wrenches, your ratchet sockets, all that stuff. I'll do better, a more thorough tool video another time. But for the most part, you can't have too many tools, and you get a student discount. So yeah, take advantage. I did just think of something now. There's a lot of things you need 2 sets of wrenches for that are the same size, like a 2 3/8 wrenches to do throttle cables, or some of the aftermarket clutch cables you need 2 1/2 inches or 2 7/16 inch wrenches. And I got gear wrenches and a standard set of wrenches. That way I had gear wrenches, which is also cool, but then I had a double set of 1/2 inches and 9/16 and 7/16 and whatever I might need. There's a pro tip for you as far as tools go. Jesse Allen, number 3 Jesse, for this video Q&A. He asked a lot of questions. A lot of them I've answered, but he does say, is the money worth the work? Any benefits? Flipping bikes on the side? Yes, those are all good questions that I haven't yet answered, but it plays into what I've been talking about. So as far as the money being worth it, that's really dependent on where you're located and what you expect to make. I can't really answer that one. But flipping bikes, yes, that would be a good idea as to why you might take a metric class also. That's that side work I was talking about. Obviously, working at Harley, my owner doesn't want me to take bikes in Harleys and work on Harleys and then flip them, because that's what he does for a living, and he pays me to do it for him. But other models that he doesn't want to mess with, well, those are fair game. Benefits. Every dealership being privately owned, they're all different, but generally you're going to have some sort of health insurance, benefits, 401k. That's part of why I quit bartending, to do this. Benefits. That's an aspect of pay that people tend to forget sometimes, but it's an important part of your pay. Julio asks, what I knew about motorcycles before starting school. Well, I knew that they had 2 wheels. Not really, though. I didn't know all of the Harley models, which is more than a lot of guys knew, like the difference between a Fat Boy and a Heritage and things like that, just because I'd looked at so many pictures and kind of figured it out. But I mean, the knowledge going into school, everybody's a little different. There were literally some guys that just didn't know anything yet, but when they graduated, they were perfectly capable of working on bikes. Julio also mentions that he's concerned about will he be ready getting out of school, which he's already in school if you read the text, so good luck, Julio. I think that there's a misconception as to what you're supposed to be able to do, and to a degree. I mean, you're entry level, you're on the path to be a master mechanic or a master technician. You're not supposed to be the all-knowing, so Julio, I think you'll do okay. Just pay attention, study hard, learn as much as you can when you can. And every instructor at MMI they all have their own little extra bit of information. Some of them were shop foremen, some of them were just master technicians, some of them were service managers. There's a huge range of experience within the instructors at MMI, so pay attention to the little extra stories that they're talking about too. You can really come out of there knowing a lot more than the next guy, just because you were paying attention to more than just what the course had to offer. I'm out of questions. I'm out of work. So that's what I got. That's this week's video. If you have any more questions, or if I missed something that you're curious about, there are links down in the description. I have another video on the UTI YouTube page. It's linked down there too, so make sure you check all that out. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big dirty thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, tap the bell notification so you know when I upload, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.